Moving on to round 13. The first and very important step is to change your hook down from a 5 to a 4 millimeter. This is important because of the stretchy properties of the rib. We need to compensate for that to keep the work nice and flat. So with a standing single crochet in any corner, so to do a standing single crochet, we are going to have a slip knot on our hook into any of the corner spaces, pull up a loop. You've now got the 2 loops on the hook and take them both off. That is a standing single crochet. Now into each stitch all the way across we're going to work a back post half double crochet. So yarn over round the back of the loop like that, pull up. It can be a little bit tricky the first 1 or 2, but after that it should become quite smooth, and pull through both. Yarn over through the back loop, you go through like that, pull it up and take off both. Yarn over to the back loop, pull it through, take off both. Okay, and then you get this nice little detail appearing on the last row, which would have been row 12. Just before you do start this, please ensure that your stitch count is correct. You do need to have 47 stitches, including the 2 in each corner across each side. If you don't have it correct at this point, it's going to affect the panels that we're going to be doing next, and that is going to cause you some frustration, so please just double check that. Continue with these back post half double crochets until you get to the next corner. In the next corner do a single crochet, just 1 single crochet, and then your 47 half front back post half double crochets, 47 of them, and continue like that all the way around until you get to the starting point over here. Then you can join either using an invisible join or a slip stitch, and I will see you for the next round a little bit later. Okay, so in any of these stitches, it doesn't matter which one, join with a standing single crochet. And we do a single crochet all the way around. We don't do anything any differently in the corners. When we get to a corner, we simply work a single crochet and carry on all the way around. At the end of this round you should have 192 single crochets, and I urge you just to take a minute to count to make sure that your count is correct. We're getting to some of the more tricky rounds shortly, and this is our corner single crochet from the last round, and we just go round that doing 1 in each. Carry on until you're back at the beginning, and then join either with your invisible join, which I hope you will use, or if you do prefer, feel free to use the slip stitch join. Fasten off because we're going to be going back to color D for the next round. I'll see you shortly. Right, we're going to now start on round 15. Round 15 is exactly the same as the previous round, only difference being that it's worked in the color D. So starting with a standing single crochet and working 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. You should have 192 in total. That includes your first standing single crochet. So I'll leave you to do that, and when you get to the end you can join using your preferred method, and I will see you for the next round shortly. Moving on to round 16. The first thing we've got to do here is to identify the correct stitch that we're going to work in. And we're going to start in our corner, and I need you to go and have a look very carefully here. That is our corner stitch there. So just move above and identify the corner stitch over there. Please make sure that it is the correct stitch. If it isn't, you're going to have problems with this round and the whole square is going to start to go wonky, which we don't want. So we're going to join with a standing double crochet. So we've done standing single crochet, we've done standing half double crochet. Now I'm going to show you a standing double crochet. Again, starting with a slip knot on your hook, over once, into the stitch that you're going to work into, pull up a loop, take off 2, and take off 2. Just make sure that that slip knot is quite tight on the hook so that it's a nice and neat finish. And then we're going to do another double crochet. So each of the corners will have 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and 2 double crochets. Pretty straightforward. And you can see that it's in the right position there, because if we do that, you can see nicely that it is in the correct position. Once you've got the first one right, then the others should actually fall exactly into place as long as you've got 192 stitches. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, then we're going to skip a stitch. So we're not going to work in that one, we're going to work in this one, and we're going to do a double crochet. And we're going to chain 1 double crochet 23 times all the way along this edge. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet 23 times. Okay, when you've finished your 23rd double crochet, just before the next corner, wait for me and I'll take you around the corner. I'm now at the next corner, and I've checked and I have got 23 of these little double crochets and a chain space. That doesn't include the starting corner. Now you should be 1 stitch away from your next corner. There's your next corner, so we're going to do 1 more chain, skip the next stitch, which is that one, and then work a corner again. So into this corner, 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. A chain, skip 1 stitch, double crochet, and then chain, skip 1 stitch, double crochet 23 times, and you should be 1 stitch away from your corner, 1 chain, and then work a corner, and continue like that until you're all the way around at the beginning again. And then you can join using your preferred method, and you can fasten off because we will be changing color, and I will see you at the beginning of the next round. Moving on to round 17 with your D color. Start by making a standing single crochet in any of the corner spaces. And it's pretty straightforward to do. You've done them before now, and then follow up with another 2 single crochets. So each corner on this round will have 3 single crochets in it. Now don't miss the next hidden stitch, and do a single crochet in there, and do another single crochet in the next stitch. So this is what we've got coming out of that corner. Then we're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to work in front of the chain from the previous round and into that round over there, which would be round 15. Okay, and then into the next, top of the next double crochet from the previous round, a single crochet. So what we're effectively doing is we're filling in that gap that we made on the previous round with a different color. So we get a nice effect, which I'll show you now. Okay, so we're going to continue doing this single crochet, double crochet into that previous round, single crochet, and we are going to do that 24 times. So we'll have 24 of these double crochets, and we will have one final single crochet after that. Work towards the next corner and wait for me there, and I'll take you around the corner. Right, I've now worked 24 of these double crochets into the previous round and the single crochet, and I'm now just before the corner. You'll see that you have one more stitch left. Into that stitch, work a single crochet, and then 3 single crochets into the corner, and then coming out the corner again, not missing that hidden stitch, 1, 2, and then we start our 24 repeats again. So a double crochet into that previous round and a single crochet. This is what your little corner will look like. So carry on, and just bear in mind when you get to the next corner you will have to put an additional single crochet in. You'll see that it then balances. You've got 2 single crochets that side and 2 single crochets that side, and then your repeats. So carry on until you're back at the beginning again. You can join and you can fasten off because the next round will be done in color A. Being able to identify the correct stitch to work in is very, very key to having a successful outcome. Let's just go and have a look at this corner now, and into that corner we've got 3 stitches. This here belongs to stitch 1, that belongs to the center stitch, which is stitch 2, and that belongs to stitch 3. Very important that now that we join in the correct stitch. So that would be the center stitch over here. So that's the one we're going to use for our next round, which is going to be round 18. Round 18 we're going to work with color A. So you'll see that in this particular panel, as I'm going to call it, we're alternating between A and D. And I'm going to be doing a very, very similar row to this one here that we did in the white, just with a few minor adjustments. So I need to join in the center of the 3 single crochets, which is the stitch here, and we're going to do that by doing a standing double crochet, a second double crochet, 2 chains and 2 double crochets. Then we're going to do 1 more double crochet in the next stitch. So not in the corner, in the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Then we're going to do 1 chain, then a skip a stitch and do a double crochet. We're going to do 1 chain, skip a stitch and do a double crochet. So we're going to do this chain, skip a stitch, double crochet 26 times. So not counting the corners, you'll have 26 of these double crochets. You should then be at the next corner. Stop over there and wait for me and I'll take you around. Right, we should now have 26 of these little double crochets, starting counting from this one just outside of the corner. we're now at the next corner. This here is the stitch we wish to work in. So that stitch there we still need to work in. So we do one chain and one more double crochet into that one. We're now at our corner, and we can now work our 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then we can continue and we do our 26 repeats of the double crochet, chain, skip 1, double crochet, and we'll continue like that. So when you get to the next corner, remember that you're going to add in one final chain 1 double crochet, so you'll have 3 double crochets around each corner. So continue like that until you finish the round. You can join and fasten off because we're using color D again in the next round. Moving on to round 19, using color D. Join in any of your corners with a standing single crochet and do another 2 single crochets into that corner. So a total of 3 single crochets. We're now going to do a single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2 and our hidden stitch 3. Don't miss that little hidden stitch. Now we're going to do a double crochet into that stitch that was skipped on the previous round, and then a single crochet into the top of that double crochet there. Now it's going to be slightly different from this point onwards. I just need to recover my work here. It's stuck on the tripod. And here we're going to do a front post treble crochet around this stitch, which was formed 2 rounds ago. So 1, 2, 3, and then a single crochet into the next stitch, treble, round twice, front post, 1, 2, 3, and into that stitch there. Okay, so we're going to repeat 24 times until we get just before the next corner. If you wait for me there, I'll take you around the corner. Right, I'm at the next corner, and we've now repeated this front post treble crochet, single crochet 24 times. You should now have 1 skipped stitch unworked, and into that one we're going to work a double crochet. The reason for that is that there isn't one to work a front post double crochet there. Then we're going to finish off by having 3 single crochets before the corner, and then into the corner 3 single crochets, and coming out of the corner 3 single crochets. And again, we don't have this over there to work into, so that will just be a straightforward double crochet, and then a single crochet, and then we start with our front post treble crochets all the way along. Okay, so work that all the way around until you get to the start of this round. You can then finish off and get ready for the next round, which will be round 20. Moving on to round 20. This is a very straightforward round for you. identify your center single crochet in any of the corners. So this one here, work a standing single crochet and a further 2 single crochets. So we've got in each corner we're going to have 3 single crochets. Between the corners we're going to work 59 single crochets. So all the way along the side to the next corner, 59 single crochets, 3 single crochets in the corner, and continue until you're back at your starting point. You can join and fasten off, ready for row 21. Now I'll be starting on round 21. It's a very straightforward round. All we're going to do is we're going to go to one of our corner chains, corner single crochets from the previous round, and into the corner we're going to make 2 half double crochets, 1, 2, 2 chain, 2 half double crochets. Then working into the next 61 stitches, we're going to just do a half double crochet. So between the 2 corners you'll have 61 half double crochets. In each corner you'll have 2 half double crochets, 2 chains, 2 half double crochets, and your round will end up being 65 half double crochets when you count it, including 2 in each corner. I think this is a straightforward enough round that you can carry on until you're back at your starting point. Join using your preferred method, and I will see you for round 22 in due course. Moving on to round 22. In any of your corner chain spaces from the previous round, start with a single standing crochet and then add another 2 single crochets to that. And you can see now we're using color D, and then we're going to do a back post half double crochet in the next 65 stitches. So make sure you don't pick up 2 of those back posts by accident, it can happen. You do that again slowly for you, yarn over. First few can be a little bit tricky because they're a little bit tight. Yarn over, around the stitch, pull up a loop and take off all 3. Okay, yarn over, pull up a loop, take off all 3. You have done this previously in the blanket, so it's not a new stitch for you. So continue doing that until you have 65, and then you should be at your next corner. Into the next corner work your 3 single crochets and then 65 half double crochets, and continue until you're back at the start here. You can join using your preferred method and fasten off. Round 23 is again a very simple round, working in the center stitch of any corner. That's your first one, center one. Do 3 single crochets, and then we're going to single crochet in each of the 67 stitches that are left leading up to the next corner. In the next corner again do 3 single crochets and 67 in the next 67 stitches. Your count for each of the sides at the end of this round will be 69 stitches, which will be the 67 plus 1 in each corner. As it's such a simple round, I'll leave you to get on with it, and I will see you for the next round in a little while. In this next round, we will be decreasing 1 stitch on each side. The reason for this is that the next little pattern repeats that we'll be doing from the following rows requires an even number of stitches, and right now you have an uneven number of stitches. So what I'd like you to do, just to remind you to skip the stitch, is mark the stitch 1 to the left of each of your corner stitches. It's just a single crochet row, and it's quite easy when you in the groove of doing these little single crochets to miss that. So I've just gone all the way around and mark that little stitch to remind me when I get there to skip it. You will then land up with 68 stitches between your corners and 70 including one of the single crochets in each corner. So using color B, to come into this corner and start with a standing single crochet, another 2 single crochets into the same corner, and then skip this little guy here and go into the next one and do 68 leading up to the next corner, 3 single crochets into the corner stitch, and do the same all the way around. At the end of this round, you can join with a slip stitch and don't fasten off, because we will be using the same color for the next 2 rounds. I'll see you in a little while. Right, moving on to round 25. You have joined with the slip stitch, you haven't fastened off, and we're now going to just slip stitch 1 more into that center stitch of the corner, and then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. This counts as your first double crochet plus 2 chains, and then into that same space do another double crochet. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to skip this first stitch and do a double crochet into the second stitch there. Then we're going to go back over the front and to that skipped stitch and do another double crochet. Show you that again. We're doing a little cross stitch. We skip that stitch, we double crochet into this stitch, we go back to the skipped stitch, passing in front of the work, and one more time, skip that stitch, going back in front and into that stitch there, and we have these little crosses. Okay, so continue like that until you get to just before the next corner, and I will see you there to take you around the corner. Okay, I'm now at the next corner, and you should have 35 of these little cross stitches all the way across. The very next stitch that you work in should be your center single crochet from the previous round, and there we're just going to do double crochet, 2 chains and a double crochet. And then coming out of the corner, we're going to skip that stitch, do a double crochet, and then go back and cross over the front and do another one. So the corner is very straightforward. There's nothing tricky about that at all. So I'll leave you to continue until you get to the end of this round. When you get there, finish with a slip stitch. Don't fasten off because we will be using the same color again. I will see you shortly. We are now at the beginning of round 26. You should have finished off round 25 with a slip stitch, and you should still have your same yarn B attached. I'm going to just do one more slip stitch just to bring me properly into that corner. Then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. Those 4 chains count as our first double crochet plus 2 chains, and then another double crochet into that same corner. Then coming out of the corner, we're going to just do 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and now we're at our little crisscross repeats, and we're going to skip the stitch, work in that one, and we're going to do the same as we did the previous round, and again we will have 35 of these cross stitches all the way across. So skipping a stitch, working a double crochet, crossing back over to the skipped stitch, and so it's exactly the same, other than for this extra little double crochet as you come out of the corner. When you get to the next corner, wait for me there and I'll take you around the corner. Okay, I'm now at the just before the corner. I finished doing my 35 cross stitches, and now I should have 1 stitch left before I get to the corner. Into that stitch, do a straightforward double crochet, and then into our corner, double crochet, 2 chains, double crochet, and then coming out of the corner, remember to do that extra little double crochet there, and then we're going to continue with our cross stitch. Okay, I'll leave you to carry on with that. When you get to the end of this round, please join with a slip stitch, and don't fasten off. We will be using this lovely pink bee color for the last round before we change. Moving on to round 27, again this is a nice straightforward round. Slip stitch into the center space of your corner, and then we're going to do 3 single 1 chain which doesn't count as your first stitch, and then 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then in each of the 74 stitches do a single crochet. When you get to your next corner, 3 single crochets and then 74 single crochet. When you get back to the beginning, join with a slip stitch, and or an invisible join if you prefer, and you can fasten off because we are going to be changing to color A. And the next row is the same as the last one, very similar anyway. Into the center stitch of the corner, standing single crochet, 2 more single crochets, and then a single crochet into all 76 of the stitches leading up to the next corner. In the next corner you'll do your 3 single crochets, 76 single crochets down the side, and continue all the way around to here. Join either with a slip stitch or with your invisible join, and you can fasten off because we will be changing color at the end of the round. I'll see you then. Now moving on to round 29. This is the final round of this particular panel here, and again we're going to be working in the center stitch of any of your 3 corners, and we're going to join with a standing half double crochet, I will get there and all the way through. This one's being difficult, and start it again. Standing half double crochet, and there we go, and another one, 2 chains, and 2 half double crochets. Then into each of the stitches all the way along a half double crochet. So you will have along this edge here 78 half double crochets. So I'll leave you to do this round, so carry on doing your half double crochets till you get to the next corner. Into the next corner work 2 half double crochets, 2 chains, 2 half double crochets, and then your 78 half double crochets. Continue until you're back at your starting point. You can join either with a slip stitch or with an invisible join and fasten off, and we will then be starting on the next panel.